Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, trader Steve here at Logic FX Trading, and welcome to our daily FX analysis video. Um, Guys, the last 2 days have been a mess. Monday, I didn't get back in time. I was away at Dublin for the weekend, watching the international rugby game between Ireland and Argentina, which was a great weekend away. Did talk a lot about it yesterday, but I forgot to plug in the microphone. Now, as I was saying to you a few weeks ago, guys, I'd got a new motherboard for the computer, and it just wasn't working right. It kept crashing, so I sent away for another one. And I don't know if any of you know, but when you set up a computer, there's so many things to do. One of the things I couldn't get to work was when you plug the microphone in, the speakers were switching themselves off. And it seems like a simple fix. You just go in and change a setting, and it just wasn't working. So it took me quite a few days to get that thing to work. But what was happening in the meantime, I'd got into the habit of unplugging the mic after done the recording, which obviously I don't normally do. And there you go. We unplugged the mic. The royal we. I unplugged the mic and forgot to plug it in yesterday. So I did 41 minutes and no sound. Sorry about that, folks. Now, I can't really remember what I spoke about because all this comes off the top of my head, guys. So we'll just get into today. We'll look at the economic calendar and then we'll get over to the charts. So, economic calendar for yesterday, market manufacturing PMI came in at 59.1, forecast 59. US economy is doing well. There's a huge discussion going on about inflation. Clearly, it's not transitory, as in, only lasts a quarter and then it's gone. It's going to last into next year, by all accounts. And then it's what the Fed does in the meantime. But remember, we've also got to compare that with what everyone else is doing. Now, there are a few economies that are moving on interest rates. Turkey, it's a basket case, guys. There was a possibility to make some good money on the Turkish lira short. I just didn't get into it because the last time I traded Turkish lira, it hung around for a long time and couldn't get it right. But anyway, I would say that's been and gone. But other than that, potentially the Bank of England are going to hike rates. New Zealand hike rates overnight, which we were talking about yesterday. But one of the things I said yesterday was, the forecast is it's going to hike from 0.5 to, when we'll look at that, let's go over here. The forecast was we're going to hike from 0.5 to 0.75. Now, for anyone that's relatively new to trading currencies, you would expect the New Zealand dollar to go long because they've hiked the interest rate. The problem is it's been telegraphed. We knew it was going to happen. So the increase in the New Zealand dollar because of this hike may well already have been priced in. It usually is, guys. And that's why sometimes when you get an interest rate hike, prices go in the opposite direction. Now, I don't know if they've done that or not, but I'd just like to reiterate that, because I remember when I first started, I've been trading for 20 odd years, investing for over 20 years, guys. Been trading for 5 or 6 years, and currencies for that length of time. When I got back into, when I got into this side of things, it was currency trading. And I remember waiting for the big interest rate days and often getting it completely wrong, despite the fact that the interest rate came in as expected. And it took me a while to work out that, yeah, sometimes things go in the opposite direction on the day of the interest rate decision. And that's why I stopped trading news days, because there's a whole host of people out there making out that news days are a big deal, guys. No, you'll get it wrong as often as you get it right. The longer I've been in it, the further back I'm stepping from individual days, individual announcements, guys. You got to have a long-term view in these things. Get the fundamental direction correct, and then be brave enough to ride through the drawdowns is the way to trade currencies, guys. Okay. Germany, IFO business climate come in at 96.5. Durable goods, GDP, It's the core PCE, and then Michigan Consumer Sentiment Final. Usually that's on a Friday, guys. PCE Index and FOMC minutes. So there's a lot of news out today in the United States. The reason it's all coming out today is because of Thanksgiving. In the United States, it basically means that they're shutting down, which possibly means the markets are going to be very quiet Thursday, Friday, guys. If that's the case, I'll not do a recording because there's no point. But we'll see. We'll see how I'll look at it in the morning. And if there's any volume, if there's anything happening, I'll do a recording. But if it just looks flat, then I'll not. Okay, so that'll be one recording for the week. That was an easy day for me. But obviously I've got a lot of other work to do as well, guys. Okay. And we'll not bother looking at tomorrow because, as I say, things will be closed, but it all focuses on, well, Germany and the EU. Okay, let's get over to the charts. These are the alarms that have gone off in the last 24 hours or thereabouts. Just looking for trends within this, guys, which is the reason why we set so many alarms. Aussie. So there's 3 Australian, so it looks like the Aussies moved along. Yen index, Aussie yen, but no other yen trades there, guys. So not a particularly big move on the yen. Nasdaq, yeah, the Nasdaq's correcting at the minute, guys. It's been one of the things I did talk a lot about yesterday, even though this is supposed to be, about currencies. Did talk a lot about the stock market because I'm sure a lot of you are in the stock market as well, guys. I've been getting battered, the whole last week, but it's not so bad when nearly everyone else is getting battered as well, guys. And despite that, the Nasdaq isn't off all that much, but it's about individual sectors, guys, and it's heavily weighted by big tech, the likes of the Google, Amazon, etc., and they're not off all that much. In fact, some of them may be up. But with growth stocks, guys, growth stocks have been getting absolutely thumped, and gold hasn't exactly done much to counter it. So last week was a big drawdown. For me, big drawdown's 5%, but it was only up 10% for the year. So we're hoping. I haven't closed anything, so I'm not overly concerned about it. Obviously, when prices start coming up again, which we're hoping they will, then that will all be given back to us. And then the other couple of moves, pound. We have been calling the pound long over the last couple of weeks, guys. It's not doing anything spectacular at the minute, but I think it is moving in the right direction. Okay, so yen. As we've been saying for the last few months, short the yen. It's not moving very fast at the minute, guys, but I think it is going to continue in that direction. And we've kind of got a zone down here of where it's going to move to. We don't do exacts here, guys, because exacts, you make a fool of yourself when you start making exact predictions because they very rarely come off. DXY. Continuing along, guys, looking for some sort of setup. I don't trade the index, but if anyone does, look for a setup to get into it. If you're already in a setup, if you're already in the trade, get your stops to zero or move them, trail them, guys. Euro, same thing. This will continue short. As with there, we're always looking for a setup. We don't know exactly what it's going to look like, guys, so we cover a lot of information here, so we're not going to spoon feed you with counting waves and one thing and another. If you understand Elliott, you'll understand what I'm doing here. If you don't understand Elliott, we have training videos out there, guys. But you'll also pick up an awful lot more from listening to this on a daily basis than just watching training videos. So we've had an impulse down here, guys. Once it gets to a certain length, you're going to get a correction on it. Very rarely do they go and go and go. Even that impulse, guys, only lasted for a certain length of time. So we've run. You could possibly go 1, 2, 3. So possibly a third wave. You'll get a fourth and possibly a fifth. So you're looking yet again to get into it. You're looking for a pullback before trading it down again. Doesn't mean it's going to happen, but you're not going to try and get in there. If you try and get in there, the chances are it will happen, or something else will go wrong and off it'll go. But we're not expecting that. We're just saying that that's, you need to have a system for where you get into trades. Pound. Now, as I said a while back, I'm looking for the pound to strengthen, but we're also looking for the dollar to strengthen. The dollar will probably strengthen a little bit more than the pound, which will push this in that direction. But don't be surprised if it bounces along, guys. But it's not one to trade because there's so many other trades that would be better than it. So I wouldn't trade it. Aussie US. The difficulty with this is that we're looking for a little bit of strength in the Aussie, and yet again, look how far it's come, guys. You've got to be looking for some sort of pullback, and then decide whether it's going to go again. New Zealand, well, there's quite a little drop there, despite the interest rate decision, guys, in the wrong direction. We were looking for a little double. We explained this at length yesterday. But I'm not overly enamored with this one at the minute due to this structure, guys. This structure could end up pushing long. And the reason for that is that sometimes these structures, are formed despite the fact that the fundamentals say they shouldn't be, guys. And we've often talked about that over the last lot of years, where you've got fundamentals are telling us that the chart's going in that direction, but the 1 hour or 4 hour, whatever it is, kind of says, do you know what? This looks like it wants to do that. And I can remember saying on several occasions, I have no idea why that would happen, guys, but it could happen. Therefore, I'm not getting long there. Or I'm putting a stop loss tight in case it happens. And lo and behold, 2 weeks later, price is down there, and that's the place to get in. So those little circles, guys, I know I've drawn one up there. I'll explain these every now and again, every 10 videos or so. Those little circles are me saying that's the area that if price got to there, that would be the area that I'd be looking to trade it long with the arrow. The arrow's not indicating there. It's just indicating the strength with which I think it will move. But not that exact. There's nothing exact here, guys. Exact for fools. Okay. If I thought it was going to break out and run long, then I'd draw a longer arrow. But it doesn't mean yet again that it's going to come to exactly there. All right. They are. Quick lesson. I've often said I do too much of this in these videos, but those of you who watch, and there's not that many of you, those of you who watch on a regular basis, guys, you know where to go and look for the information you need. US CAD, yet again, if you wanted to trade that long, you'd have to wait for a pullback. That's what we said yesterday. We've had a bit of a pullback. I kind of didn't want to trade this a while back, but the US has released, let's just put it that way, the US has released strategic stockpile of oil, and so has several other countries. I can't remember off the top of my head which countries they were, but they're trying to battle what they think is an undersupply by OPEC. OPEC, their calculations, basically saying that they don't think there is an undersupply, and therefore they're not going to open the taps. And to counter that, Joe Biden just said, right, release some more oil into the system. So that may well have a negative effect on the oil price, guys. Although I see this morning there's a move up, but we're looking at this on a higher time scale, guys. So we've had this pullback. Now, I did say a while back, when you were here, as I would with any chart, guys. When you've had a move, of considerable length, you've got to be looking for the correction, guys. And therefore, depending on your strategy and whether it's really long term or whether it's percentage targets you're setting, or you may have set a specific target, you've got to always be thinking about the correction. So if you're in it, you're looking for the correction to get in it. And if you're not in it, you're looking for the correction to get in it. And if you are in it, then you're getting wary of the correction because you don't want to potentially give back. Let's say you get in there somewhere and you've made that nice profit. It's moved on up and now it's starting to drop. You need to be careful, guys. You wouldn't necessarily have expected something like that here. Hello, you could have got it there. Just talking against myself there a little bit, guys. You could possibly have had it there because it would have been part of a flat, which is the reason why you wouldn't get in there, guys. But with that correction coming down, you would have had an alarm on there. As it breaks out, that's where you're looking to get in. Then at this point, you've got to decide, let's get our stop to zero in case that happens. If it doesn't happen, it pushes on up. But then you also have to be aware that at some point you will get a correction. And then you've got to decide, do you take your profit up here? Do you put a stop loss in? But you don't get in the middle of an impulse, guys. If you can't catch an impulse near the start, you've got to let it run, guys, because you've no idea when that correction will come in. Could come in there. It has come in there. It could have pushed on a bit more, but there will be a correction. So if you're not in something, you've got to wait for the correction. So that was a long way of describing that if you want to trade this long, which I'm not 100%, but that drawback has been a combination of two things. There will have been a drawdown in the CAD because of oil coming off, but also we've had a push up in DXY. So the combination of the two is you get that. If oil continues to drop, which I don't think it will, guys, I think it may hold here. I can't see oil doing that. It may hold in this region. So oil's influence on CAD short, I don't think has got much further to run. So I'm a little bit wary of trying to trade that further up. So I would just leave that alone, guys. And sorry it took me such a long while to describe that. This one's moving nice. We're on 4 hours now because that's a really nice move, guys. We did say the other day you're looking for a pullback to get into it. Yet again, it's a dangerous place to get involved because you're breaking out of a flat correction. And so often that'll continue to go like that, guys. But the fundamental news we had was that the dollar was going to continue long, and therefore that possibly would have been a trade from there up. Let's take it to 1 hour. But the place to get in would have been down around here, and then be patient, and then at this point, move your stop loss up in case it came back down again. And in this situation, if you didn't get stopped out, you're in a good trade, you're away. And then you got to trail your stops because at some point it will correct. If you're not in it, then you're going to have to wait for some sort of correction to get into it. US yen. Yet again, I talked quite a lot about this little structure yesterday. And the reason for it is we've been calling this long. But remember, it doesn't go long in a straight line. It goes long in a sawtooth. So when we got that, and then we got that, I can remember looking at this and saying, well, I would like to trade this long, but when you get that, invariably you'll get that. Well, not invariably, but more often than not, you'll get the other side of the zigzag, and then that will be the place to get involved. it's moved up here. Can you get involved here? I wouldn't, for the same reason we just talked about. We're in a little flat there. It's come up. You could put that there, and then you could potentially say, well, we could end up with some sort of expanded flat before it goes. I'm not saying that's going to happen, but that's the reason that I don't get involved on breakouts of flat corrections, guys. I get involved in the breakout of a zigzag. And the reason being, if you get a zigzag, price has already come to there, and this is often, it's got there too quickly for the market's liking, and you get a bit of profit taking, buys a bit of time, and then off you go again. The probability that it'll get back to there again is a lot higher than the probability that it'll break out. And the reason being is that recently it was at that level. But you'll need to go way back to see the last time it was above that level. And it could have been years prior, or certainly months. So if it had been a flat, the place yet again to get involved is the last, well, potentially the last leg of the flat correction. So that's the place you want to be getting involved, not there as it breaks out, guys. If you get involved there yet again, there's a precedence been set recently that at that value. So there's a higher probability that it will move to there than there is that it will break out, guys. So what you would need there would be an alarm line there. As it breaks out, you decide to get involved. Once it gets there, you get your stop loss to zero. If it breaks out, you're away. If it comes back down again, you've lost nothing, guys. Defensive. You need to be defensive, guys, or you'll lose your money. And then you'll not have a seat at the table. US Swiss. Okay. I'll stop training now, and we'll just get on with my observations. US Swiss said the other day we're looking for a breakout. Wasn't sure we'd get a little double zigzag, as it were, or full-on zigzag. Turned out that was the zigzag, and off we've gone. But often you'll get, something like that. It'll come up, it'll go again, and then it'll go. Talked a lot about that yesterday. Unfortunately, it didn't record. So there we have it. We're looking for a pullback. We got one. That was a breakout. It's gone now. I wouldn't jump in there, but if you had to get in there, I suspect it's going to continue to go up. Gold. Gold's doing my head in at the minute, guys, because, well, not just at the minute, for the whole of the year, because it's not behaving the way you'd expect it to. But if there's a big drawdown in the stock market, which obviously we're all hoping there isn't, but if there is, then you more than likely will see some of that money moving into gold, guys. There's an awful lot of doubts out there about gold these days, and when there's doubts, maybe it's probably the best idea to stay away from it. That's too late for me because I traded up through here and then got involved in it again as it pulled back here, because I thought we're getting a little pullback and we'll get another impulse up, with that being our initial target. It doesn't mean it can't get to there, guys. It just means that for the last lot of months, it's been dragging my account down rather than adding to it. Silver is doing the same thing, guys. Doing the same thing. So it's one of those ones, if you want it for safety, put some money into it and then forget about it. And, if there is a big crash, then you've got a bit of insurance anyway. Bitcoin, well, this is the unknown, guys. No fundamentals with this one. But cryptocurrencies are here to stay, guys, whether you like them or whether you don't. I've spent a lot of time this last lot of months trying to gen up on them. I'm not an expert, obviously, but I'll continue to, to watch them, to trade little bits with them, and over the next few years, obviously, increase my knowledge of them. One of the things about Bitcoin seems to be that the younger generation would rather go to Bitcoin for safety than to gold. The difficulty with cryptocurrencies is they're very, very volatile, guys, and you can lose a lot of money very, very quickly, but you can also gain a lot of money very, very quickly. I've got involved in a few things recently, um, but I've opened them with a long-term view. I'm not trying to trade them. In other words, if they give me a 5% return, I'll not be closing them. But interestingly, and I say that with my tongue in cheek, some of them lost me 15% in a day, which isn't very conservative trading, guys. But I do think they'll continue to strengthen. I'm starting to understand their purpose. So I'm in Solana. Unfortunately, I get into Cardano, is it? Cardano. Last week, and this week eToro has announced that it's going to stop trading it in the United States, and of course it's taken a battering because of that. I think that's probably when I lost 15% on the day. And there's one or two other things we'll get into, but we'll talk about that in a different video, guys. And the same with Ethereum. It's come off its highs. You know, is this a breakout? I don't like the fact that it's come back down below the previous high. But if you want to get into it, as I was saying back over here, where was it we were? We were here somewhere. And I kind of said, well, listen, that would be a beautiful place to get involved in it. It didn't give us that. It gave us that. And then that was the next opportunity. If this were to give us something like that as well, guys, potentially it's the next opportunity. But I'm not looking at this. I'm looking at Polygon. That's another one I've been looking at. I'm looking at ones that don't cost thousands, guys, because the potential upside to these, you know, Bitcoin, Ethereum, maybe the double over the next year or two. But if you get something that's maybe worth $2 or $3 or something that's worth $40, it has potential, and obviously you got to know what you're getting into. They have the potential to become the next big thing and go from $2 or $3 to maybe $100, and then you're getting, you know, 50 times your money, guys. And that's what I would prefer to risk my money on with oops, what's going on here with cryptocurrencies. So let me just pause. Okay, for some reason the charts weren't changing there. EuroCAD. Well, if you're looking for the dollar to go long, then, you know, ordinarily you'll be looking for the euro to go short. So potentially there's a downside to that. Let's just get a closer look at it, folks. It's not one I'm trading, folks, but there you go. There is a bit of a move down. It looks like I've been saying there is a possibility that it'll run flat, but if the oil price continues to go up, then it would run short. And given what we've been saying about the oil price, listen, I do think oil will continue to go up despite what Biden's done. But their actions may hold the price steady for a while, but they'll not hold it steady throughout the winter, folks. Euro Oz, yeah, I'm looking for that to drop, folks. Euro New Zealand, do you see that? That was the interest rate decision, I'm pretty sure, which pushed it up. You get that, guys. You get the flash. Now, it doesn't look like much, but if you're trying to trade the news, you know, as people do with leverage and whatever, that points long, by the way. But look at that. So let's say you decided long on here. Now, I don't know why you would have, because we're expecting the New Zealand interest rate to go up. So really, you should have been looking to short trade this short. Off it goes. You're all excited. Hey, we got this right. Bang. Out you go. Particularly if you're running tight stop losses to try and increase your profit up that side. Takes you out, then it comes back up again, and then it gets to there. This is why you don't trade the news, guys. It's rubbish. It's manipulation. That's all I can say it is. It's manipulation. Big boys are playing games. They've come down to take you all out, and then off they go again, guys. Now, I'm not entirely sure of the mechanism of that, but I know that when I used to try and trade the news, that it happened not invariably, it happened a lot, guys. Okay, euro, yen. What I'm saying here is I don't know that that's going to happen, therefore I'll not be trading it. But if it broke out and gave us a setup, then potentially it can come back up to there. Why am I saying that? Because the pair's been running like this for quite a while, and that just looks like it wants to break out and go long. So that's purely technical, guys. And also because I am looking for the yen to go short. But what I've also said throughout this is that I prefer to trade the US yen long, provided you can get a setup, guys. And we've been saying it from a way back here. And then, euro, what about euro yen, euro Swiss? Also for the same reasons. It just looks like it wants to go long. There's a potential zigzag there. Even if it was just a pullback like that, you could do all right out of it. But yet again, I'll not be trading it. Pound CAD, there's a bit of a push up on the pound. Potential setup, ABC, looking for a breakout. If you go into that in 15 minutes, I don't count things, guys. Look at the overall structure. It's an ABC, right? Next move should be like that. I'm not saying it's definitely going to be that. It's on a 4-hour, by the way. But wouldn't be surprised if the next move was up like that. But yet again, I'm not trading it. I'm just letting you know. Pound Oz. This is the one that did trade from here, and then I let myself. That one accidentally closed that one. I was taking some money off the table the other week, and markets were dropping, and I just thought, you know what, I'm not letting these go into the green, so I took a lot of stuff off it, into the red. Sorry, took a lot of stuff off the table, and accidentally closed Pound Oz. Would have been still in it, waiting for it to break out, and I think it will break out. Pound New Zealand, well, there you go. We were looking for that. It's gone, despite the fact that New Zealand increases interest rates. So that was the place to get in, and now you're maybe sitting with your stop loss at zero, hoping that it continues to push on up. Pound Swiss, same thing. They all look the same, guys. So if we get a breakout on one of them, we'll probably get a breakout in all of them. Pound Euro, yet again, flat correction. Looks like it wants to break out. I wouldn't get involved there, but if it were to pull back a bit, maybe. Pound Yen, it's a little bit all over the place, guys. This is one of the ones that I was involved in, was up, and then bang, stopped me out for a zero. I don't know why there's only a few candles in there. Let me pause. Okay, for some reason this is running slow today. When the rest of this is filled in, this looks completely different. It shows you the importance of getting all the information, guys. When we got that impulse, we drew this in. We said we've got a drawdown, it'll break out. We put that in. We said it's come down to 61.8. Not that we trade it just because of that, but it's you add all of the information together. And we got this move, and we got that move. I said, listen, we get a pullback from here, then we look to trade it long. Let's just clean it up a little bit and see what's underneath all of those arrows. Let's take this off. Yeah, so when we got to there, we were looking for some sort of correction off that. It's not beautiful, guys, but it is a pullback. Um, I would say there's still a probability that that's going to go long. So much so I'm going to write it down and then consider it. Great British Pound JPY. So I'll consider trading that, guys. Aussie yen. Here we go again. Let me pause you again. Problem seems to be on Trading View, guys, because when I go over here, Bloomberg's running fine. That seems to be running all right, although we're getting, it's maybe a mixture of the two. What's going on with Trading View? Let me pause you. Yeah, guys, it looks like the problem's on Trading View. I've brought up Flipboard, I've brought up Google Finance. Let's bring up YouTube. Yeah, it's a little bit jumpy, but it's working okay. Hey, what if Google Earth's working then? Well, it's always slow to load anyway. Yeah, Google Earth's working, guys, so. Right. Well, that's where we were the other day. That's why that's up Viva Stadium in Dublin. Oh, no, it's not. That's the GAA Stadium. There's the Viva Stadium there. Sorry about that, folks. Trading View seems to have gone down on me. Okay, there's no point in hanging around here. We'll just have to put this out with what we've got, guys. Sorry about that. We'll have another go tomorrow.